What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Thursday, June 16th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA championships. Let's take a look at this NBA showdown between the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. So you have two studs on the slate. From the Golden State Warriors, you have Stephen Curry. He's 11,600 DraftKings salary. He scored 33, 64, and 45 fantasy points in the last three games, playing 37, 40, and 37 minutes. He's projected at 47.7 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Stephen Curry here versus the Boston Celtics. And then for the Celtics, you have Jason Tatum. He's $400 cheaper at 11,200 DraftKings salary. He scored 48, 54, and 50 fantasy points in the last three games, playing 44, 42, and 41 minutes. He's projected at 49.7 fantasy points here tonight. Now, between the two studs, it's really a coin flip here. A little bit of an edge to Jason Tatum because he's playing on average, let's say 3 to 7 minutes more per game. And he's consistently scoring a little bit more fantasy points as Stephen Curry. Although Curry does have that 60 plus upside if he gets going. But I like Jason Tatum here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, moving down in salary a little bit. You have Jalen Brown from the Boston Celtics. He's 9,800 DraftKings salary, and he scored 35, 34, and 49 fantasy points in the last three games, playing 44, 39, and 39 minutes. He's projected at 41.2 fantasy points here tonight, so I don't mind Jalen Brown. Sometimes it's just he's going to fit into your lineup because you only have like under 10K remaining. In that case, Jalen Brown absolutely would be the best play for that salary. So I like Jalen Brown here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, moving down in salary to the 8K range, we have Andrew Wiggins from the Golden State Warriors. He's 8,200 DraftKings salary, and he scored 53, 44, and 37 fantasy points in the last three games, playing 42, 43, and 40 minutes. He's projected at 32.9 fantasy points here tonight, but I could see him putting up another 40 plus fantasy point performance. Super attractive at only 8,200 DraftKings salary. So I like Andrew Wiggins here versus the Boston Celtics. Then you have Marcus Smart from the Boston Celtics at 8,000 DraftKings salary. He scored 26, 39, and 39 fantasy points in the last three games, playing 39, 39, and 39 minutes. He's projected at 30.4 fantasy points here tonight. So I do prefer Andrew Wiggins over Marcus Smart for only $200 more, but I still like Marcus Smart here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, now down to the $7,000 range, we have Klay Thompson from the Golden State Warriors. He is 7,600 DraftKings salary. He scored 34, 30, and 40 fantasy points in the last three games, playing 39, 40, and 39 minutes. He's projected at 35.6 fantasy points here tonight. So I think he's a pretty good mid-range play here. A guy that's got a lot of upside. And for the projected points, I think he's a great play because he could pop off that 50 plus fantasy point upside if his three ball starts to drop. So I like Klay Thompson here versus the Boston Celtics.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And then we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy?
And we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video.
So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
And then you have Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors. He's $7,000 DraftKings salary. He scored 28, 32, and 13 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 32, and 34 minutes. He's projected at 33.3 fantasy points here tonight. So I would absolutely prefer Klay Thompson at 7,600 over Draymond Green. But if you build your lineup, you have 7,000 left. You got a few guys to consider, and Draymond Green would be one of them. So I like Draymond Green here versus the Boston Celtics. Then you have Robert Williams from the Boston Celtics, and he scored 23, 34, and 35 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 31, and 25 minutes. He's projected at 28.8 fantasy points here tonight, so I think he's a fine play here. I might go with Al Horford or even Draymond Green over Robert Williams, but I'm guessing Robert Williams will have the lower ownership. Yes, he does. He's projected at about 32% ownership, whereas Draymond Green is 47 and Al Horford is 48. So if you want to make your lineup different and go with the lower ownership player, he definitely has that 35 plus fantasy point upside. So good way to make a tournament lineup that's a little bit different with Robert Williams here versus the Golden State Warriors. Now coming down in salary, you have Al Horford. He's 6,600 DraftKings salary, and he scored 22, 24, and 35 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 32, 28, and 30 minutes. He's projected at 29.7 fantasy points here tonight, and he's got clear 30 plus fantasy point upside. He could even put up a 40 plus fantasy point game, so I think he's pretty attractive here at 6,600 DraftKings salary. So I like Al Horford here versus the Golden State Warriors. Now coming down in salary, you have Kevon Looney at 6,200 DraftKings salary. He scored 11, 25, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 16, 28, and 16 minutes. He's projected at 20.6 fantasy points here tonight. Now Kevon Looney was hot a little bit earlier in the playoffs. He seems to have cooled down now, only projected ownership of about 10%. So I definitely prefer some other players over Kevon Looney, but it is possible that he plays close to 30 minutes and puts up like a 30 fantasy point game and becomes a good play. But I'd probably reserve him for just high risk, high reward lineup if you want to make your lineup different in a tournament. So you could do that with Kevon Looney here versus the Boston Celtics.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
And then you have Derek White from the Boston Celtics at 6,000 DraftKings salary. He scored 9, 21, and 15 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 21, 35, and 23 minutes. So Derek White is projected at 27.2 fantasy points here tonight. Now, if he's going to play about 20 minutes, I'm not super interested. If he's going to play around 30 minutes or more, then I think he's a good play. Hard to know. projected ownership about 23%. So if you're left over with 6,000 DraftKings salary, you really only have the choice between Derek White and Jordan Poole. And it's a coin flip between these two guys as to who's going to score more fantasy points. So in that case, I don't mind Derek White here versus the Golden State Warriors. Then you have Jordan Poole from the Golden State Warriors at 5,800 DraftKings salary. He scored 15, 21, and 17 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 14, 20, and 24 minutes. He's projected at 26.6 fantasy points here tonight. Going to be about 18% owned. So again, same case as Derek White. You have under 6K, he's a good play. So you can do that with Jordan Poole here versus the Boston Celtics. Now moving down into the 4K range here, you have Otto Porter Jr. from the Golden State Warriors. He's 4,600 DraftKings salary, scored 7, 5, and 16 fantasy points in the last 3 games. And he played 14, 14, and 21 minutes, projected at 18.7 fantasy points here tonight. But those minutes have been trending down. I'll be a little cautious with this play. Projected ownership about 13%. But again, if you have, 4,600 left over, he's one of the options for you. That's Otto Porter Jr. here versus the Boston Celtics. Now, the guy that I would prefer over Otto Porter Jr. is Gary Payton from the Golden State Warriors. He's only 4,200 DraftKings salary. Looks to be possibly the best value play on the slate. He scored 28, 15, and 7 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 26, 9, and 11 minutes. So he's projected at 16.4 fantasy points here tonight. But I think a lot of people are going to look at that last game where he scored 28 fantasy points in 26 minutes and wonder if he's going to get, 25 plus minutes of play time here tonight. So I think that's possible. I think there may be a good chance of that. So I like Gary Payton here versus the Boston Celtics. And finally, the last guy that I would consider playing here on this slate would be Grant Williams from the Boston Celtics at 3,800 DraftKings salary. So if you have under 4K remaining in your salary for your last spot in your lineup, I think it would go to Grant Williams here. He scored 11, 5, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 16, 12, and 20 minutes, projected at 14 fantasy points here tonight. So this would be the guy I go with under 4K. That's Grant Williams here versus the Golden State Warriors. Now, let me just quickly go back up. I forgot to give you the projected ownerships. Stephen Curry, 48%. Jason Tatum, 61%. Jalen Brown, 53%. Andrew Wiggins, 53%. Marcus Smart, 46%. Klay Thompson, 53%. Looks like Klay Thompson is a clear mid-range player winner at 7,600 DraftKings salary. Draymond Green, 47%. Robert Williams, 32%. Al Horford, 48%. Kevon Looney, 10%. Derek White, 23%. Jordan Poole, 18%. Otto Porter Jr., 13%. And Gary Payton should be somewhere around 20 to 25%. And Grant Williams at 11%. So good luck here tonight, guys. The Golden State Warriors lead this series. They're up 3-2 on the Boston Celtics, so they could close it out here tonight. So look for the Boston Celtics to tie this series to move it on to a Game 7. That's why I prefer some of the Celtics players here over the Golden State Warriors. Now, if the Golden State Warriors do close this series out or win the championship here tonight, it's been an awesome NBA season, everyone. I do hope I see you back here for Game 7. But if the Golden State Warriors do win this championship here tonight, make sure to check out our MLB videos on this channel, MLB DFS picks. And the MLB tools for DFS on Draft Dashboard, they're pretty awesome. I think they're the best of any sport. You get all the splits between the batter and pitcher matchups, the lefty-righty splits, the batter versus pitcher history, pitcher versus team history, tons of data on the MLB DFS tools to help you decide and pick the players in the best spots. So make sure to check that out, and I'll hopefully see you guys for the Game 7 NBA Championship video.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.